if Ryan Day is not going to find ways to beat Michigan, he better come home with another shiny trophy. The national title for Ryan Day, all that did was buy him time
100%
to beat Michigan.
I think Ryan Day, if he loses on Saturday, his seat gets real hot, real fast. I think this one's kind of a no-brainer, and people are going to probably hear this and go, you can't talk about that because he just signed an extension in February. But I think in this fan base, in this rivalry, it's going to happen every single year. Mm-hmm. So the wheel route today is this Ryan Day's last chance to beat Michigan?
Is it his last chance to beat Michigan?
If he loses on Saturday.
No. I mean, it's not going to be his last chance to beat Michigan. And I think I guess I'll answer this first here. But like, I think you just nailed it. Like, he just signed an extension. He's coming off a national championship. Now, here's what I would answer that firmly. No, this will not be his last chance to beat Michigan. I don't think there's a world in which that happens. I will say that it's really interesting to see. It will be very interesting to see the perception and perspective around Ryan Day if he does lose this game, because and we talked about this a lot last year. In the expanded playoff, where you can lose the most shocking upset in 130 years of Michigan, Ohio State, where you can lose that game but still win a national title. It does, I think for some folks, it shouldn't change the perception of the game. I think it has. It certainly changes the implications of the game. And I think that would be my big argument here if I'm kind of tangentially answering your question. The game can never be anything less than of ultimate importance. Can the stakes be higher? Sure they can, but it's never less than ultimate.
Yeah.
And so I think if you're Ryan Day, you will probably get another 2 or 3 opportunities to play Michigan. But what happens over time is that, and I can tell you this as a Michigan fan, you win the national title, and if the next year doesn't go the way you'd hoped, okay, Ohio State game aside, Michigan did not have a great year last year until the very, very end. The trophy shines a little bit less bright the further you get away from it. And so if Ryan Day is not going to find ways to beat Michigan, he better come home with another shiny trophy. Because what that national title last year did, and this is why I believe that winning the game is more important than winning the national title, that national championship is great, but players even said this week, it's great that we did that. Nobody here has a Big Ten championship. Nobody here has a pair of gold pants outside of some of the coaching staff. The national title for Ryan Day, all that did was buy him time
100%
to beat Michigan. The national title and winning the game, whether you're Michigan or Ohio State, it's 1A and 1B. But 1A is winning the game. Because forever, when people look at that national title, yes, Ohio State has every right to be pumped about that national title, 100%. But every time they bring it up, you know what comes with it? Yeah, but they didn't beat Michigan. Like every time that Ohio State gets brought up in these conversations, anytime that national championship is talked about from the media, it's, well, after the loss to Michigan, they regrouped and did such and such. That's true. But it's that reminder, it's that needle every single time it comes up of, yeah, but hey, they did this after this terrible thing, depending on what side you're on after this thing happened. So all that to say, winning this game is more important than the national championship. You are welcome to disagree in the comments. That's fine. This is actually one area where I think we're on the same page here.
Yeah.
But no, this is not Ryan Day's last chance to beat Michigan. But if he doesn't, you better come home with a trophy. And that does mean this year. That doesn't mean he's getting fired, but it does mean if you lose this game, the only way to remotely salvage any part of losing this game is going and winning the whole thing. And unfortunately, unlike, Jack Sawyer, as much as he'd like to complain about it, it doesn't kind of erase the loss to Michigan.
Yeah.
But it does put a little bit of a balm on it though.
Yeah. I love Jack Sawyer. When he came on the podcast and said that was just outrageous. That will always be, and you said it perfectly. You can be excited about last season.
And
that's
to be fair, you should be.
Absolutely. I mean, there wasn't an easy route for last year. They had to face the toughest team every single round, and they dominated it. They didn't even just win; they dominated every single team. I don't think it's Ryan Day's last chance. But here's where I think it starts to get interesting. And there's going to be people that are going to disagree with this as well. Like you said, And I think those people just don't understand what this game truly means. There are people that are outside of this fan base that have no skin in the game like this, that just don't fully grasp it. I think Ryan Day, if he loses on Saturday, his seat gets real hot, real fast. I think it's cooled down a lot because ever since last year's loss, the guy has been on a tear. He has just absolutely dominated every single opponent that he has faced. He's won big games. His team looks ready. He's got the best defense. I mean, they have just reloaded. The expectations are super high again. But like you said, this game is of the utmost importance. He loses this game. I don't think he's not going to get fired. He just signed a contract extension in February that lasts through 2031. He's not going to get fired right after the season, regardless. Even if he were to lose to Michigan and then lose first round of the playoffs, Ryan Day's coming back next year. However, I do genuinely think this buys him one more shot. I think if he goes into next season, I don't care if they are undefeated going into the game again. I don't care what that looks like. If he loses this Saturday, the narrative now becomes next November, you've got to win or you're gone. I started looking, and I think normally in years past, this is a thing where you'd go, well, he just signed a massive extension. They're not going to fire him and let go of all that money and blah, 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 whatever. But you've seen it this year, time and time again. You've got Brian Kelly, James Franklin, Billy Napier, all with big contracts that are massive buyouts. Now, James Franklin's got negated a little bit because he went and took the Virginia Tech job. But that was Brian Kelly was $53 million. James Franklin, $49 million. Billy Napier, $21 million. For a school like that's realizes the importance of this game and knows what it means to this program, they'll do whatever. And this is coming from an Ohio State fan. This Ohio State fan base is some of the most psychotic that you could ever be around. And that's coming from, and I'm part of it at times. I'm the problem.
Would you call it a lunatic fringe?
Yes. And I'm not that group, but I am in other ways. Yeah. But that fan base is going to be quick. If he doesn't turn it around and win in Ann Arbor this Saturday, and then whatever happens next season, he ends up losing a game or two in the regular season, loses that game again, people are going to forget all about what he did last year real quick.
There eventually comes a point there. And again, I don't know that you're there, but there does come a point because, again, the reason that you're not there is because he won that national title. Now, I don't think that the administration would have let him go, but I think fans would have been entirely done with him. Mm-hmm. I mean, one of the things that drove me nuts last year as a Michigan guy was reading, because I read, like, I love college football, man. Like, I read all the stuff. I read the Ohio State beat. We've got friends on the beat. And so, shout out to them. They do great work. But one of the things that really drove me nuts was after the Michigan game, all these pieces about this is unacceptable, launch him into the sun. We're done with Ryan Day. I don't think he has it in him. And then Ohio State wins, and it's extend that man. It's the greatest run in history. And I go, this is why nobody likes Ohio State fans, because that was 6 weeks later.
Well,
it was incredible. Like I get it, but I don't get it. But I think my point being though that I think the fans, if he loses this game, it doesn't win a national title. Like I think there's some real consternation. Eventually, you get to the point where you go, and this is where Penn State got. This is just not working. It's crazy to say that, and no other fan base outside of Michigan and Ohio State would do that because no other fan base has this game. Even Auburn, Alabama. Mm-hmm. And I think that is the closest college football rivalry to the game. I don't think it holds a candle to it, but I think it's close. Mm-hmm. I think it's getting closer. Kalen DeBoer is now Alabama's season. That might be a different conversation. Yeah. But, Kalen DeBoer is not solely judged on, did you beat Auburn? Hugh Freeze or whoever the interim is now is not solely judged on, did you beat Alabama? Ryan Day, Sharon Moore are solely judged on, did you beat that team?
To your point about Ryan Day, where the Ohio State beat is saying, well, he didn't win, let's launch him into the core of the sun. Michigan fans were the same way with Harbaugh. It's the exact same scenario. Before their title runs, where they won 3 Big Ten championships in a row, you even were a part of that, where there was a time where, thanks to Rutgers, his season was saved. That's some deep lore for you.
Coming out of that COVID year.
That was a season where Michigan fans were done with him. Yep. A large majority of them. Yourself, I don't know if you were fully on that edge, but you were there. You were talking about it.
After the COVID season, I was done. Mm-hmm. And again, That's why fans don't make decisions, but there's legitimacy to the fact that Ryan Day has got to, and Ohio State will win eventually, but how long are you willing to wait? The fans, I don't think, are willing to wait as long as guys like Ross Bjork. And this is the last thing I'll say, then let's talk about actual football here. But one of the things that just should drive Ohio State fans nuts is I don't think Ross Bjork gets it. I genuinely don't think your AD understands this rivalry. So here's a quote from him. This is an article from just a couple days ago. So this is Ross Bjork talking about the game. And he says, the game at the end of the year is the game, period, full stop, never de-emphasize, never take it for granted. And then he doesn't go full stop. He says, but then, what about the next game that happens that same season? Then someone else says, objectively, the rivalry is not what it was. You can lose the Michigan game and win the national championship. I don't think you get it.
Well, I'm glad he's not coaching.
I don't think you get it. I think Ryan Day gets it. I think Sherwin Moore gets it.
100%. And I don't disagree at all.
The Rivalry Podcast is part of the Varsity Network from Learfield and the River Podcast Network from River Radio Ministries.
New episodes out every Monday.
Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you're listening right now, and follow on social media at RivalPod and RivalPod.com.
And if you like what you hear, share with a friend so they can listen too.